Bitcoin has still managed to hold on to this $90,000 support level, and I think that means we could be heading up, but I want to cover all angles with you as usual in this video, and if you're excited for it, do me a favor and smash up those likes as you are coming into these to this YouTube video. Now, the first thing that we have to tackle is the fact that this support level has held really, really well. This is a really big deal because it does mean that we are looking like we're in a sideways trading range. I know that sentiment is pretty bad. We're not actually fully seeing that reflected here on the Fear and Greed Index, but to be fair, we are out of extreme greed, so that definitely might indicate something to you. The bottom line, though, is I think that we are looking like we're in a really nice kind of sideways range right now, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We are seeing Bitcoin's dominance move to very important levels as well. We've actually come right to the top, which is exactly what we were predicting on this YouTube channel. So shout out to those of you that are staying tuned, smashing up those likes and subscribe buttons, staying very, very well informed of what's going on here. We've managed to pretty much erase all of those altcoin gains. So take a look at this, right? If you look at Solana against Bitcoin, it's actually one of the big things I wanted to talk to you guys about in this YouTube video. Solana now at this point has actually managed to lose 30% of its value against Bitcoin, and that's only happened within 1 month, which means that it's a phenomenal buy. I mean, I don't know about right now if it's a phenomenal buy, but it's definitely approaching those kind of levels. And, we can zoom out a little bit more and I can show you why. I mean, this is quite an important kind of support level that's going to be falling down to right now. It's already starting to find some support from the kind of top of this range right here, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's not the only one, right? If we take a look at Doge against Bitcoin, which I was very, very bullish on, it ended up going the wrong way. I was wrong about it. It lost me a little bit of money so far. But, I mean, not too bad. I'm only down like 25%. But this is a huge macro zone of support against Bitcoin right now, which is absolutely fantastic, right? Doge against the dollar, also falling down to a very, very macro level of support. We're just holding on right now. If it loses this level, it's going to be in trouble. So we're going to have to see how that goes. And obviously, all of this weakness is coming pretty much exclusively because, in my opinion, the S&P 500 has been, a little bit bearish, right? So we're going to be seeing how this goes for today's Monday open. But I think that absolutely a very, very interesting position here because that Friday close was a pretty bullish close. If this ends up, giving us a little bit of kind of, strength coming into this fresh week of trading, then that would be absolutely, absolutely fantastic. The dollar has been rallying up recently, and, that's probably going to be an effect of the Trump presidency taking fold. So that's going to be really interesting because there's basically no resistance now until the dollar gets back up to its previous high, which it reached pretty much like, 2022 here, which is very, very interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we start to see those interest rates really starting to cut back down aggressively so these markets can open up a little bit further. But let's bring it back to Bitcoin here before I go off to any other coins. I do want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on here. And before I continue, guys, I do want to highlight the amazing opportunities available to you with the links in the description below. When you check out any video that we've got here, you're going to be getting huge access to some very, very cool promos. Bybit is actually running their 6th anniversary promo with a $2.2 million prize pool, which is absolutely sick. And Blowfin is a phenomenal alternative to Bybit, where you can also get thousands of dollars in bonuses. So check them out if you're not from a restricted region, if you are allowed to in your home country. But bringing it back to this Bitcoin chart here, really, really interesting stuff that's going on here because we're just kind of consolidating and finding resistance at, kind of high touch points in this price range. Me personally, I'm just really not worried about anything above 90K and below 100K. To me, this is kind of our new sideways consolidation range, and we have been spending, by the way, pretty much since we first got to this price level up until now. It's been about 42 days, so that's quite some time. But since we really have been trading in this range, that's been about 35 days with 7 of those days not really in the price range, right? So basically a month that we've actually been spending sideways here now. If our previous performance is anything to go of, well, this was 8 months and this was 7 months. So I'm not saying that we're doing something like that right now, but I'm not saying that we're not consolidating sideways either, right? Because that definitely looks like what the market wants to do, especially as we go into this holiday season. I don't necessarily want to expect some Christmas or New Year pump. It never really happens in my experience. So the best that I can expect or hope for at this stage is just going to be stability, and if we can get stability, then that can definitely open up the altcoin market, which is why I think that these links in the description are so powerful, because they're going to give you so much free cash when you start engaging with these prize pools or just kind of trading and racking up those volumes. Because Blowfin right here, look at this, they got a $100,000 offer for you guys when you get signed up using Blowfin, which is absolutely sick. So again, well worth checking out if you're not from a restricted region here. Like I said, these altcoins I think could be where a lot of those opportunities go. Take a look at WIF, for example, which has just dropped astronomically. I mean, it's really at kind of all-time low territories. Anything below this, I mean, these are obviously technically the all-time low levels, but anything below kind of where we are right now, and it's going to get into a really bad place in my opinion. Pepe is managing to hold on, which is definitely interesting. Binance token is actually holding on really, really well and back testing an old level of resistance now, which I think is really, really important. Actually, if we can kind of successfully find support off this level for Binance token here, this could be a really big deal. So probably some longs that people are looking to stack on here, and then potentially play them to higher levels, right? Stop loss maybe below this wick right here, and then obviously you can target that upside nice and easy. That's gonna be a 3.8% risk to reward. So I don't know, 6x leverage for me max, maybe 5x leverage, right? And then that's pretty good. Yeah, that's 100% profit on the upside. So that would work out pretty well on Binance Coin. Obviously, I don't have that entry right now because the price is a little bit higher. And really, it just depends on Bitcoin, right? Like, you can't even be running into these coins, you know, if Bitcoin isn't kind of in a super stable place, if Bitcoin isn't in a good place necessarily. And then speaking of, you know, if Bitcoin does end up kind of losing this floor, then, you know, there's nothing that I see for Bitcoin until $70,000. We really didn't trade anywhere else, especially compared to what we have right now. If we zoom in and we start getting really like generous with it, then yeah, you know, we've got a couple of levels on the interim, but, you know, this was kind of just vertical accumulation. I think we'd probably just largely ignore this. Maybe if we start kind of dropping down, maybe we get something that looks a little bit like this, a little bit of a liquidity grab and then come back up. Actually, that's, you know, that's fairly likely. Bitcoin does that quite often, but, you know, for the most part, I really don't want to see Bitcoin losing that, you know, $90,000 price level. I just don't, you know, I think it's going to be problems that we really don't want to entertain right now, especially in this holiday season right now. I don't know if we're going to see the buyers kind of step back in. So consolidation would be very, very healthy. And like I said, kind of falling back down to 72 would be what makes sense. And from our all-time high down to this price level, that's going to be a phenomenal 33% correction. And I cannot stress enough how much of a big deal that would be. It would be so healthy for the market because, first of all, that's a really obvious logical support level. You know, a lot of people are going to be getting their buys there. You know, but more importantly, this market is really starting to upset and, you know, confuse and frustrate market participants right now, especially people that have kind of joined after Bitcoin broke that all-time high, who are wondering, like, you know, it's been a month, it's been 45 days, why am I not making money kind of thing. You know, they're going to be capitulating on this kind of move, right? So I think it would actually serve really, really well to reset things. It would definitely serve really well to scare people and make their sentiment get, you know, quite negative. But on the flip side, you're only dropping down by 33% and you're only dropping down to the previous all-time high, which we've had as resistance now for 3 years. So, you know, that's a phenomenal back test. We still haven't even back tested it once. You know, in my experience, that kind of thing does typically happen eventually, maybe not soon, but it does eventually happen. It's now been, you know, a good amount of time since we broke that all-time high, by the way. I mean, if we kind of measure this up to present day, you know, we're 30% above that all-time high, and it's been 47 days. So, you know, definitely it's been, you know, closing in on 2 months, a month and a half here now, that Bitcoin has been able to kind of get above its previous all-time high. And I think this is just going to be such a phenomenal bounce zone for Bitcoin if it does end up coming back down here. An even better level would be 67K. I don't know if we're going to get lucky enough for that, but that's going to be a 37% drop. Guys, people are going to be so scared, and these altcoins are going to be in a completely different place if it does end up happening. We really just have to see what ends up happening with traditional finance, and especially things like the dollar. But we'll see what happens with the S&P 500 later on today, and I'll probably make a brand new video for you guys as well at that point. So just make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out on the super time sensitive content as we do continue to go on here. But taking a look at the upside for Bitcoin, and this is the downside, right? 73, 67. Below that, we got 56, 60, whatever, but I don't really think we're going lower than that. Actually, one of the things I want to do before we move on is take a look at the Fibonacci retracement on this setup. So if you take a look at that, we do have phenomenal golden pocket support right here at $69,000, which is absolutely fantastic. It lines up exactly with our previous all-time high break level, and it's just a nice kind of zone, this entire kind of price zone between, you know, this yellow line here and this yellow line here. These entire price zones here, I think, are a really big deal for the market, and I think the market is definitely going to be very happy to kind of see these levels, you know, back tested. You know, I mean, a lot of people are going to be upset, but I think a lot of smart money would definitely be interested in kind of buying down there. Just imagine, you know, the fear campaigns, right? I mean, you know, the Peter Schiffs kind of coming out of the woodworks talking about how Bitcoin's a scam now that it's broken $100,000. It would just be hilarious. So, you know, I definitely think that there's some real possibility for that kind of thing to happen. Talking about the upside, obviously, we just got to break $100,000, and then, you know, we've got light resistance up ahead all the way up to 108. I don't think there's any real resistance up ahead, to be honest, if we do break $100,000. You know, we've just got to break it with conviction. One of the best ways to kind of know that it's going to be a real break is, you know, as it's happening, you know, perhaps we kind of consolidate at the top a little bit. You know, we do something a little bit like this, and then just kind of, you know, like something a little bit like that, and then pop higher. You know, if we can get a good amount of our trading above this box here, which is in the middle at 95K, if we can get a good amount of trading above this box, that's going to be a strong indication that you're actually ready to pop there. So that's going to be really good news for the market if we are able to pull that off. And, you know, if not, then it's probably just going to be more sideways. Like I said, if we do pull it off, there's going to be a little bit of kind of, you know, resistance right here at about 102, but I'm I'm not really too worried about that. Even 108, I'm just not that worried about it. I think that we can get to better, more interesting price levels above that $100,000 price level. So that's going to be what I'm kind of really interested in looking at. I do want to take a quick look at our indicators because we haven't looked at that yet at all. And we are 10 minutes into the video, which is absolutely fantastic, proving to you once again that you don't need to use indicators for very, very thorough, well-rounded, realistic analysis. These are just supplements. And what a beautiful Ichimoku cloud we're starting to see here, really kind of reinforcing my theory here that we might be entering a sideways trading range, or this is at worst that we would be entering a sideways trading range. And at best we could actually be looking at something, in terms of, some more upward price action like that. So we're gonna have to see how that goes, but I am liking the look of this Ichimoku cloud sitting pretty high right now, and it has kind of caught up to the market. So if the market does end up trading sideways, just going into mid-Jan, to be fair, that's really far away, but it's only about 3 weeks away. So, if we are able to kind of make use of it going into that, that would be absolutely fantastic. On the 4-hour time frame, we've lost our 4-hour Ichimoku support, which is a shame because we were bouncing off it really well, but we didn't end up keeping it. It is now starting to form a little bit of resistance, which could be a sign of what's to come ahead. This is obviously lining up with the previous $100,000 zone of resistance that we've already been talking about, which is again further proof that you don't need indicators on this in this market. You can just do normal analysis, and these indicators are just going to tell you what you've already concluded anyway. It's just reinforcing what I've already told you, which again is absolutely great. That's what you want to see. But yeah, if we do take a look at this with the EMA ribbons as well, which I think is going to be very interesting on the 4-hour, we do have a ton of resistance right now directly up ahead, and on the daily time frame we have a ton of support. So I think this is actually one of the biggest things that would make me bullish in this market right now. I mean, until we lose it, I am going to be having faith in it, especially because the market has trended really, really well. I think that this could be a really big deal, and right now that invalidation is going to be at $90,000 as well. So I really think that a lot is hinging on this $90,000 level. If it does break, you can kiss this market goodbye. It's probably going down very, very low. This is going to be a great level to be buying it back, but 90K is going to be really that level to break for the bears, and then 100K, it gets a little bit blurry, but above 100K, we're going to start to kind of find ourselves in a good place where things definitely start getting interesting. And then I do want to be cheeky here. I want to take a look at the weekly time frame as well. And in terms of the weekly time frame, we still have a ton of Ichimoku support right here, starting at about $81,000. So again, just really lining up with my kind of levels here. And this is why I tell you guys that this is kind of Bitcoin's worst case scenario, that it drops down to like 67K, 71K. Like I mean, everything's kind of lining up with showing us incredibly strong support down at that price level. It was incredibly strong resistance for 7-8 months. Like, it's just obviously, it's obviously highly likely to serve as very strong support if Bitcoin does come back down. And the reason that I like that is it's just a very obvious bounce zone, right? Like, I would be very surprised if Bitcoin ended up kind of falling below it, and because it's a very obvious bounce zone, it's easy to buy, right? It's easy to trade. It's easy to kind of make money off. And again, that's what we're really interested in here, right? And those of you that are kind of subscribed to the YouTube channel, hitting up that like button and all that good stuff, you're going to know a lot about that. Those of you who are interested in Bybit, by the way, you can get access to the Bybit debit card, which is absolutely sick. You get it if you are any tier of VIP, no matter where your account is in Bybit as well, which is really cool. So definitely check them all out if that does sound interesting to you. We've also got our super exclusive one-to-one program, which we had phenomenal results with. You can reach out to get inside by following this link on screen if that sounds like something you're interested in. It is expensive, it is very serious, but if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, then this will be for you. You can reach out and we can see if you'd be a good fit. But bringing it back to the market here, that's going to be all that I'm watching right now. I don't want to complicate it too much more. I think it's just going to be, traditional finance and seeing how that goes. Altcoins are going to be following. Ethereum has lost a lot of its value against Bitcoin, but that's not surprising. It's sad for the people that didn't see it coming once again, but they probably just weren't watching this YouTube channel. It's basically come back down to the bottom of this range. At this point, it kind of has to go back down there as far as I'm concerned, and it could even be sweeping it. So we're going to see how that goes. Bitcoin's dominance is obviously going to be the name of the game here. We're going to be having to keep a very close eye on this, but it's like I said, whether Bitcoin goes up or down, you typically see Bitcoin's dominance go up anyway. Could circumstances be changing? We are trading sideways now, right? So it could be that altcoins are going to have their time to shine. Absolutely, yes, but it just hasn't happened yet. We'll keep an eye on it, and I'll let you know how that changes and how that evolves over time. But with that, ladies and gents, really hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm mumbling up now. You know exactly what to do. If you have, subscribe, smash the likes, tick the bell, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.